because it's summer and I'm traveling and everybody's going all different directions.
Okay,
right.
Sharon, take her away.
I'm gonna share
Just to
the
be
screen.
clear, we are recording this?
Yes,
Okay.
done.
Well,
Set.
in summary, I hope you guys enjoyed today's meeting. And no, just joking.
All
Okay.
right,
So
here we are.
here we go.
All right, guys, here we go. This is it. And bear with me. I'm gonna just blow your mind with a whole bunch of information. And then at the end, when we finish, we can go back and have some conversation. So let me find my little button here. And I can get going. Sorry, hang on. I know it works. And I'm calling this meeting to order. Got to start somewhere, right? All right. So, everybody probably knows who David and I are, but Sharon Lobel, governor for American Society of Photographers, and David and I have been asked by American Society of Photographers to host your international trip this year. And Kenya is our trip of choice, which David and I, together, we have photography adventure tours. And we've been doing this going on 4.5 years now, right close to 4 years. And we've gone several places in Africa, and I've been doing African safaris since the 90s, late 90s, early 20s, right along in there. So David, I'll let you introduce yourself.
So I'm the one with the hat. And actually, this picture was taken by Mel Carl on one of our last safaris. And like Sharon said, I've been leading these safaris with her because I didn't want to compete with her. So I called her up one day and said, you know, it kind of makes a lot of sense that we do this together. And that's how it all started. I've been in photography my whole life. I was a studio brat. Meaning I made my living as a portrait photographer. And then I kind of morphed my business into an education center and doing that as well as the travel tours. So that's pretty much my background. I was lucky enough to mentor under Monty Zucker. And so a lot of my portrait images kind of have that type of a feel to it, if you guys recognize who that guy is. So that's it about me. I shoot Canon, the best cameras in the world, and I look forward to going on this journey with you guys.
Okay, he's cut off because he's Canon, so he can't talk. Anyway, it's fun. And by the way, I am wearing an official Maasai necklace from the Masai Mara tonight, and it goes all the way down to here, and it hangs on my wall with a bunch of my art, along with a bunch of my African art, so I should say. So I want to just quickly talk a little bit about some facts about Africa. I mean, it is just like one of the greatest continents on earth. A lot of people don't think about how large this continent is, but it actually has 54 countries and so many different dependencies and territories. And it is actually 11,642,094 square miles. And Mount Kilimanjaro is the highest mountain in Africa, and it reaches 19,341 feet. And I just had a friend climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and I was so excited for her. And she trained for about 3 months to do that trip. So our trip will begin and end in the capital city of Nairobi in Kenya. This is our start and end location. And we always talk about, as a photographer, location, location, location. And we feel that Kenya is one of the top countries to visit in Africa. And we are going to take you to 5 different parks and reserves on our 15-day trip. And here are our dates. If you guys want to jot these dates down, if you haven't already. August 10th through the 24th are our dates. Mandatory arrival date in Nairobi is the 10th. We will start our day the very next day. We're not going to give you any downtime at all. We're just going to come in and let's go. Some people do arrive the day before, and we can talk about that later. If you do want to arrive on the 9th, we'll get into all those details as we get, down into making final reservations and everything. We do a day in Nairobi. What David and I love taking you out for the day just to get a glimpse of the city. We don't spend time running around in the city, as I'm sure everybody's heard all the things that go on in a lot of, especially in Nairobi. But we come in, we go from the airport, we go to our hotel, which you will love. It's only 20 minutes from the airport. Then the next day we have a beautiful continental breakfast, and then we take off and we go to the Giraffe Center. You get one-on-one time with them, and then you go to the Karen Blixen Museum and home. We have lunch at the Karen Blixen coffee and tea house, and then we come back to the hotel, have dinner, and then we're up early the next morning. So we will depart for home on we start our safari then the 12th through the 24th, and then the 24th, you have an option to depart for home that evening, or you may choose to stay overnight. And if you're going on the Uganda gorilla trip, it will start the 25th, and we'll get into that in just a few moments. This is the city of Nairobi. It's a hustle bustle city. It's changing every time we go. It was dirt roads many years ago, and we have seen the transition and change over the last few years with interstate and freeways and bypasses. But every once in a while, you still see a herd of, camels or goats or whatever coming right down through the center of Nairobi. This is our hub hotel. It will be the Nairobi Crown Plaza Airport Hotel. It's a great hotel. We will get picked up at the airport in their vans, and you'll be picked up right outside luggage, and then you'll come directly to the hotel. We have choices of, different rooms, 1 bed, 2 beds, and they all have in-suite bathrooms. Tell me if I'm going too fast, but I just want to cover a lot of stuff here with you guys. They have great dining room. You will not go hungry. There's all kinds of food for everyone. They have a conference room, you have spa, you have a great pool on the roof, and you have a gym if you so desire. So David and I always say the adventure begins the minute you end. And of course, we call the day in Nairobi is when our adventure begins. So here's a little clip of what David and I have seen over the last few years. Okay, I'm ready to go again. And I know John Bruce is on here and Mel Carl. They've both joined us before on our safaris in Kenya. So if you ever have any questions from the other person, someone who's been with us, you can always ask them. But it gets my juices flowing every time I see that video. I get so excited. So, and this is something a lot of people ask. We are not like in a Jeep or a van or something, and we just drive by and, oh, you better get your shot. Nearly every one of those shots, we were sitting for a long time. We wait and we get the shot. Yeah, there may be, you know, minus the 299th bird you see, we might do a quick drive-by. But for the most part, we're not the typical tour company that just shoot and drive. So anyway, so the day after you get here, we start our day in Nairobi. We go to the Giraffe Center. This is where you actually get one-on-one. You can actually walk on the platform. You can visit with the giraffes. You can feed them. You can touch them. You can pet them. But you have to be careful and not get head-butted. So, because they will take their horns and they will headbutt you. But we spend a couple hours here in the morning, and it's just so enjoyable and such a nice, fun day, and to get up close to all these different types of giraffes. So you have your reticulated giraffe and your African giraffe. I forgot the other one. There's like 3 different ones. David may have to remind me which one is which, but they're all right here at the Giraffe Center.
These are Rothschild and reticulated.
And Rothschild. That's it. Rothschild and reticulated. This is Karen Blixen's home and museum. She was Karen Dennison. She was born Karen Dennison, as she's a Danish woman. I don't know if you know the story from out of Africa. I suggest everybody see it before you go if you have not seen it. So you kind of get an idea of some of the lay of the land and her meaning of how important it is to she's so important to Nairobi, and especially to the city of Karen, which was named after her. And in the late 1900s, in the 30s of 1930, I have my notes here, 1931, I think she married Baron Blixen, and that's how she was known as Karen Blixen. So, and they started the coffee fields. So see the movie. And this is her coffee garden and cottages, which we'll have lunch at. And then we'll come back that evening to our hub hotel. We'll have dinner. You can relax and pack up because we will be up early the next morning and ready to go. So the next morning, we're ready to set off on safari. We get up, we have breakfast, we check out, we're ready to roll. We're in the Jeeps and off we go. So our first stop will be in Samburu, and it's really like an adventure of its own, just traveling from Nairobi to Samburu. And it's our longest drive, and we will stop along the Rift Valley and the equator. So this is also really a cool place for photography and just seeing how beautiful the country is. This is Samburu, our first stop. We will be here for 3 nights. This is the entrance gate. This is our lodge, and it is not your typical tent with a dirt floor. We have nice, luxurious lodging, and every place is unique. This is the inside of the lodge. We're right along the river, and you can see how beautiful it is. Everything is just really laid out. Some of the best massages I've had have been in Kenya. Right, David? It's
That's
like you
right.
want to book it the minute you get there. This is one of the guys that's always hanging out. He's the monkey swatter. He's got a slingshot, and he's always like trying to keep the monkeys away. You have to be real careful and zip your tents and all that. So you don't want to leave your tents unzipped. So next stop is Lake Nakuru, and this is our entrance gate here. And then Nakuru is famous for its water lake, the flamingos that are in the lake. There's a really cool waterfall, and of course a lot of fish eagles. There's just all kinds of birds and everything here at this place. So we really enjoy this particular stop. This is the lodge at Lake Nakuru here. This is the inside of your lodge. All of them have in-suite bathrooms and hot water. So we all love that. Here's the dining room. Our next stop, of course, is the famous Mara, Masai Mara in the National Reserve. We will be 4 nights here. And I know there's a picture of one of the gates. There's like 4 different entrances to the gate. So this may not be the exact gate we go to, but just don't hold me to it. But this is the one I had from the last time we were there. So, this is Dr. Vodka is what I call him, because he's always ready. He knows exactly what you can drink, and he's at the bar, and he's very attentive and super nice. And they all dress in this attire. This is who they are. This is what they do. This is our camp. We're here for 4 nights. It's super comfortable. Beds are nice. We sit outside for dining. We have a nice area here for socializing. We could do image reviews. Oops, sorry, I went too fast. Go back. There's another just sitting area here that everybody kind of enjoys. You'll come in from safari, you'll dust yourself off, you'll throw your images in to upload them, and then we all kind of hang out. We have lunch. Sometimes we have lunch out. You know, when we're out, we'll take a box lunch or a box breakfast, because there's a lot of activity going on, and especially in the Mara. Sometimes we carry our breakfast because we don't want to drive back. We're sitting on wildlife, or we're going to the crossing the next morning, or that afternoon, or that morning. Whenever they're crossing, we go. And I don't know if anyone knows, if you're a big birder, there are over at least 560 species of birds in the Mara. And if you're not a birder when you go, you will be a birder when you leave, because we all have a little game seeing who can photograph the most different bird every day and how many. I think John and Dora once had a competition, and I think they were up to like over 100 and something birds. I don't remember. John, how many? You can pipe in. So it was a lot. So there are a lot of birds. There is the big 5. We see the big 5 there. And I don't know if a lot of you know this, but there is an ugly big 5. So there's our ugly big 5 along the way also. And we are sure to see all of these guys. So there's an optional excursion when we're in the Mara, and it's the Great Balloon Ride. It's up really early. It's not in your package. It's an option if you want to go. And it's a once in a lifetime stop if you want to do it. And it's always fun to see everything over. And here's a little clip of us in the balloon, and the balloon captain was videoing from his GoPro. So it's fun. Baskets are big. There's 4 people to a quad. Sometimes they're full, sometimes they're not. All the bees in the background. You can hear them. This particular trip, it was warm, it was cold, so you can see we're kind of all bundled up. But last year, it was hot. We were peeling everything off because you're up under that burner too, so it gets really warm. But you have to layer because we go out really early in the morning before dawn. Then our next stop is Lake Navasha at the National Park. And this is one of our favorite down places that we just love hanging out at the lodge. And this is our lodges. And these are your rooms. They're very large, very spacious, and you have windows all the way around and balcony or a patio. This is your dining room, beautiful sitting area. It's very large and spacious. And this is why we stay here. You can just do a walk on the grounds. We never have to leave. These guys are just roaming all over. You can see the giraffes walking. You could be walking into the dining area and the giraffe is standing, you know, by the window or the door where you enter, and he's just eating some of the bougainvillea or tree branches or whatever. And this is just a lot of fun, and we really enjoy hanging there. Great pool. You can walk down to the lake if you want to go on a little hike that afternoon. Our last stop is Amboseli National Park. Amboseli is one of the biggest like marsh areas in Kenya. And it's known, here's our lodge here. It's known a lot for their, you know, the marsh areas with the elephants. And it is also home to several of the great big tuskers. And Craig is probably one of the most known tuskers that's alive today. And Amboseli stands for, it's like the land of dirt and dirt devils, dust devils. So you'll see a lot of that going on. And of course, you have the great Kilimanjaro in the background. And we did get to see it this last year. So it was nice to photograph the mountain with herds of elephants and zebras and cows and everything. And then we're back to our hub hotel for overnight, or you can depart that evening. And that's just a little quick area of 2 weeks that went by. And I just want to talk a little bit about our drivers. I mean, we could not give you the type of safari we give you without our great drivers. All of our drivers are 5-star, they're gold rated. It's very prestigious job. They hold their job very, very close to their heart because they want you to experience the best time of your life just as much as we do. And we use these guys over and over all the time. And they're photographers, they're guides, they know these animals, the birds, their behaviors. They know how to put us in front of the animal, to the side for a good lighting and all that. So you're in good hands with our drivers. These are our Jeeps. They're our large 4x4s. You can see they have 3 pretty good sized seats in the back. The tops pop up. We have bean bags in all of our windows and at the top. Here's another one. We've got electrical outlets for charging outlets, cup holders, back seat pockets. You can put everything, you know, in front of you to get to it, and it makes it a little easier. If you want to bring your camera bag, roller bag, there's plenty of room in the back that it can be stored. But we tell everybody bring a backpack and just put your day stuff in it, what you need. And if you bring your think tank roller bag, put it in the back. We love these because the isinglass rolls up. We don't have bars that are separating. That's just a piece of canvas between. So we don't have windows that are really hard to, like the Jeeps here during this trip, it had slider windows, and we found that it was just too hard and difficult to photograph through. So we use nothing but the isinglass Jeeps. Most common questions that everybody asks. Is there cell phone coverage? Does my cell phone work there? Yes, and yes. And do I need to get an international plan? Yes, with your company, I would get an international plan. If we're at the hotel or the lodging, it's best to use WhatsApp, because if we're all on there at once, it's easier to connect. And if you have international dialing, that way you can receive your calls or make calls without any issues or problems. If we're in the middle of nowhere, traveling between camp to camp or lodge, you might not have service. So it's iffy, and you know, I'd rather have my camera in my hand than my cell phone, but we do have people with their cell phone because they might be just the husband or the spouse, or that we use both. I want to take a video, I want to use my cell phone, I want to have some photos on my cell phone of whatever we're photographing. So when I get back to camp, I'm able to just send it to my friends and family back home. But yes, there is service, not always 100%. How's the food on safari? It's amazing. You will, oh, there it went. It came and went. So it's good. It is delicious. You will gain weight. It is not something, go on a diet before you go or diet after. Just forget about it. There is food for vegan, allergies, the carnivore, whatever you want, it's there. They have it. So food is not anything you should worry about. All the water is boiled and purified, and they have just huge bottles and bottles of water everywhere. So we've never had a problem with anything there with the water. Plenty to drink, all kinds of stuff. Of course, the drink of choice is the good old Tusker beer, ice cold Tusker beer. If you like beer, they have all kinds of alcoholic drinks, soft drinks, wines. So we're not too deprived. We're not too bad. So everybody says, when do we go? When's the best time? Well, for us, August, September is our favorite time to go because the bush is thin, the animals gather around the water, it's easier to see them, it's less rainy, no mosquitoes, and so we love going during this time of the year.
Sharon,
Yes,
can you go back to when do we go?
right
So
here.
I thought like you were going to talk about porta potties.
I can
Sorry.
get.
This is when you go there. Like, are you talking about bathroom accessibility? You know, out on these safaris.
When to go? When to Okay, Chrissy, that was a good one. I wasn't expecting that. You got me there.
Everybody's like, please don't have Christy come on this trip if this is how she behaves now.
No, we got to have the humor in there, right? That's why I'm there.
Yes.
And all right, so when do I purchase my flights? All right, so for international travel, I keep having to move this so I can read. You can monitor flights up to about 12 months, but most airlines won't book your flight 6 to 7 months out, okay? ASP, Photography Adventure Tours, David and I, we have kind of through Mel, we have met Monica, and she's the owner of Travel, I forget the name of her company, Mel.
Travel leaders.
Travel Leaders. Yeah, I knew it was travel something. So Monica has agreed for us that she will book your trip from your hometown to Nairobi for a flat fee of $75 booking per person. And we use her all the time. If something happens to your flight, you're immediately notified, oh, my flight's delayed 30 minutes. If something you need to change a flight, she sends you a new itinerary. You don't have to worry about it. She takes care of it. And it's her staff. They're really, really good. The only thing Monica asked that don't ask for her, if you would please just ask for anyone on her staff. They know that this trip is occurring, and you can start booking this trip starting October of 2024. And the number is 661-254-6028. It is Pacific time. So if they don't answer the phone, leave a message and someone from the staff will definitely call you back, okay? But make sure you mention my name, ASP, or Photography Adventure Tours, okay? Sorry, I'm gonna click back. I was moving things around. What camera gear do I need? Most people ask. Well, we give you a pretty hefty list of what gear to bring. This is just an example of some of it, from roller bag to backpack to how long a lens do I need? Do I need a wide angle lens? I know you want to travel comfortable. You want to at least have a 400 millimeter lens. Animals are a lot closer than you think. Sometimes they're right above you on a tree branch, looking right down into your soul. So sometimes you wonder if they're going to jump on the Jeep or we're going to be able to move on a little bit. So, minimal lens, I would say would be, your wide angle 24-70 for your landscapes, your sense of place. Then I would go 80-400 or your 100-400 teleconverter. You can have a 1.4 or 1.7. The 550, 600 range, that's plenty of lens. You need no more than that. And 2 camera bodies, if you have it, is great because you can have 2 lenses, 2 different lengths of lenses on each one. You don't need tripods. We have bean bags. There's not a lot of opportunity for shooting at night. Only time filters, polarizers would be if we're at, at Lake Nakuru, Lake Mabasha, in those areas. You might want to throw those on, okay? This is kind of my setup in my think tank bag, and then I carry a little backpack. So that's what it looks like. What clothes do I bring? Not like this. Do not bring this much luggage.
Mel, are you listening?
Now, let me tell you a story, right, Mel? You can buy luggage there if you need to bring home bigger suitcases. Ask Mel. Mel had to buy a huge suitcase because he didn't have enough room for all of his souvenirs. So we give you a pretty extensive pack list that just covers everything from our experience. So this is something that we will email out to you, and it's your checklist. You can make your own, you can add to it whatever you might need, but we're always happy to help you with your packing. So simple, neutral colors, greens, beiges, soft pastel colors. We do wear white and light blue, pink, things like that. So it's just your basic safaris. A vest, a light jacket, puffer jacket, think of like California desert to where it's cool in the morning and then it's hot in the middle of the day. I'm unloading the layers, and then you have cooler in the evening. Okay. Rolling duffel bag. This is like one of my favorite bags, the fuel bag, FUL. And I know there's other brands that are similar to this, but this has a hard bottom to it, and it unzips, unfolds. I get a lot of stuff in the bottom and a lot of stuff in the top. So this is really nice little duffel bag. Ladies, this is a great, just a little folding bag if you want, that you need to throw extra things in there, laptop, it fits right over your handle. I know you probably, if you're on Facebook, you'll see the foldy and things like that, but you don't have to, something that's small that you can put things in, just having the Jeep and traveling from location to location. Do I need vaccinations? We always tell you check with your CDC, the Center for Disease Control, okay? Everybody's different. We're not in a high yellow fever area or we're not in a high area for mosquitoes. But if there is an outbreak, you want to be prepared. If it's a vaccination that I only need once in my lifetime, I'm going to get it, because the last thing I want to do is be in the middle of somewhere and I didn't take that yellow fever shot. Sometimes, depending on your age, some of the vaccines are not required. And I know yellow fever is one of those. So I just check with your local CDC center for what you might need. But again, sometimes when you go to the CDC, they will try to sell you all these different types of shots, and you really don't need them. So if you're in question, you can always ask David or I.
Yeah, let me just chime in. As of right now and last year, there are no vaccines that were required. They recommended yellow fever, but again, not required. The only thing that I would suggest is just make sure that your tetanus is up to date. Because we are out, roughing it a little bit, and you just want to make sure that one is there. So there you go.
Yep.
If anything does come up, Sharon and I we're going to hear about it first. If they're recommending a vaccine or making it mandatory, and we'll let everybody know.
Are there still COVID restrictions? Do I need a COVID test? Not at the moment. Okay, let's just leave it like that. Not at the moment. I still like traveling with a mask on the airline, especially if I'm going international, because you just never know, and I'd rather be safe. Smart Traveler Enrollment Program. They call it STEP. You may have heard of it. It's a free service. This will give you information of things that are going on. If there's an outbreak, I get all kinds of alerts, things that go on in Nairobi all the time. I'm not too concerned because I don't spend, and we don't spend time in the city of Nairobi. So we're in and we're out. So, but this is a really good service that I would recommend you signing up for. Do I need a passport?
Of course you
Yes. Is my passport current? Please check now, okay? You've got to at least have 6 months ahead that you have no expiration. So you cannot go if you're expiring in 5 months. It's got to be at least 6 months prior to arrival, okay? In the back of your passport, if you see the pages that say visa, you must have 3 blank pages that say visa in the back of your passport. If you do not have that, go now, update your passport, because it is super, super slow right now getting passports unless you pay for, you know, a really in advance. Do I need a visa? No more Kenya visa. We are so happy to exclude that, but we do have to fill out an electronic travel. They call it ETA. And that's just fill out my flight. They just need to know when you're arriving. We give you all that information. There are some things that you need before you fill out this little piece of information, such as a photo of your passport, a headshot of your face. You can take it with your cell phone. And then you'll need the first night location in Nairobi from the hotel confirmation, so they know you actually are staying in Nairobi. And your airline information. That's it that you need on that. And that all comes later. Do I need medical and travel insurance? Not mandatory, but do we suggest it? Yes. We, all of our safaris, you are covered medically while we are on safari. It's part of your package. We will take care of you in the field. If something happened to you, you get sick or you fall, you break, we will have, a lot of the camps have doctors or there's one nearby. We've had throwing up, we've had allergies, we've had a guy with a bladder infection who needed a catheter, we've had sprained ankles, we have been covered through all that. If anything is seriously wrong, we will get you back to Nairobi. From Nairobi, do we suggest you having travel insurance? Yes. And here are some of our recommendations. Global Rescue, Allianz, TravelX, or I Am Global. These are 4 really great travel insurance companies. They can just cover you for travel to get you back to the United States, or they can cover you medically and travel insurance, okay? So you could be, it just depends on how much you want to spend to cover yourself during those 2 weeks. So if you want to grab a screenshot of that or click with your cell phone, it's a good piece of information to have, not only for just this trip, but for any travel trip that you might go on. What does my ASP safari cost? Let's talk about that. So here's our trip. Here's what our package includes. Here's what we offer. So it's $82.95 per person. That is double occupancy. That's sharing a room. $500 deposit holds your spot. Your deposit is good for 30 days. At day 31, from the day you pay your deposit, it is non-refundable. Okay. So when you pay your deposit, you're holding your spot. You're saying, I'm going on a trip. If the safari is filled, okay, we will put you on a waiting list. If something happens, someone has to cancel, then we will call the first person that is on the waiting list. If you're single supplement, you wish not to share a room, then it's a $2,000 extra for the single supplement because you have the lodge all to yourself, the room all to yourself. Okay, does anybody have a question on that? So what's included in that package?
Andrew has a question.
Yes,
Sorry, I was slow to find the mute button. On the double occupancy, if I'm traveling alone, will you pair me up with another single traveler?
yes, we will try to pair you up with another single person who wishes to share a room, okay? If we can't, we will let you know as soon as possible. And as soon as deposits come in, we will do that, okay? But there's
And if you
always
don't
that
find a-
chance. Yeah, and if we don't, then we have to make a decision. Do you want to pay? Because we have to pay for you in a single room. We
Right.
have to pay that $2,000 for you. Yeah.
Okay,
So there's
thank you.
always that iffy chance, okay? So I always say, bring a buddy. Why not? It's gonna save both of you $2,000. You as an ASP member can bring a non-ASP member, but you must be a primary ASP member to go
Got
on the trip, okay?
Thank you.
Sharon, let me
That
chime
answers
in here
my
real quick.
question too.
Let me
Yay, okay, all right.
Let me chime in real quick. Typically, once we have the deposits in, we have another Zoom meeting and we kind of let everybody know who's looking for a roommate. And a lot of times, you know that, hey, Fred's looking for a roommate or Mary's looking for a roommate, and it always gets worked out like that. So
Yep.
you will know who, like, hey, I'm not going on the drive, but I'm looking for a roommate. I'm up for a roommate.
Yep.
So it's not like Match.com, but it, over Zoom. So.
Isn't that how Mel met? Never mind, I'm not gonna say it.
I think I already did my deposit when I saw it. I immediately put a deposit down. Somebody's got it.
Yes, I have it. Well, Mel has it and I sent you an email. I hope you received that.
I
email.
don't think I did. I've been having some trouble with my email. So,
I always tell everybody, check your spam too. So it should have
oh,
come
I
from
forgot about that.
shutterbug.sharon@aol.com. So it would come from me. Okay.
But yes,
I-
your
I
deposit
confirm.
your deposit has been received and you are a go.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. So what does that package includes? We pick you up at the airport, we get you to the hotel. When you leave, it's the same. It's on arrival and departure. It includes the day in Nairobi, the Giraffe Center, the Karen Blixen Museum, and David and I treat you to lunch. That is on David a day. So the safari transport, all the whole time that we are on safari, that you don't have to worry about driving at all. It's nice to sit back and relax. All of our guide drivers were all English speaking. You get all the park entrance fees included, unlimited game drives. And what that means is if 4 of us want to go back to, sit in the lodge, we don't want to go out that afternoon, and 1 to 4 of you do, then off you go. We're not limiting you to just when we have arranged, but let me tell you, most of the time when everybody gets there, nobody wants to go back to the lodge. And the morning you stay in, that's the morning that big cheetah's sitting on the limb that, dang, I missed it, So I always say we can sleep in the Jeep from location to location. So we can sleep later. So we always give you water in the Jeep. We have tea and coffee that's in the Jeep. And there again is the emergency evacuation insurance that we cover for you. And a great time's always included. What's excluded in the safari? If you want to come a day or two before we start, that mandatory date of the 10th of August, you will pay your own hotel rate, okay? We will bill you if you need to let us know. We get a house discount rate, and so we get a better rate than you'll probably find online, and 99% of the time, the rooms are booked or they're blocked off by other companies. So we block our rooms, and usually 2 days in advance, 1 date in advance, it's plenty of time to come. and the rooms vary $240, $250 a night, including continental breakfast, Wi-Fi, all that kind of stuff. So there's your extra beginning and end. If you don't want to stay post safari, a lot of people leave late that evening. So when we come back off safari, sometimes people need to go directly to the airport, or you come back to the hotel and you can go to the spa, freshen up, you know, borrow somebody else's room to take a shower, and then off you go to the airport. International flights, of course, are not covered. Your taxes, visa fees, which we don't need now. Any extra travel medical insurance, we do not cover that.
What
A lot
about
of
the
people,
balloon ride?
Ew.
The
the
balloon ride,
balloon
do we
ride-
prepay that? How do we do that?
yes, and we invoice that separate, Helene. So that's the balloon ride is $550, and they pick you up $550. They pick you up at the lodge, drive you, and then you have a breakfast out on the savannah with everyone there. Our drivers will meet you, pick you up, and then you will join the rest of us who are not going on the balloon. If anyone doesn't go, we'll get up that morning. We go out on safari. Those of you who go to the balloon, then we'll go on the balloon and then meet back up with us. Okay, and that includes breakfast and everything up, you know, all inclusive there. So, and all these little things, we'll just find out who's going, who wants to go. After your 30 days, then we start going, okay, here's this, this, and this. Here's these options if you want them. Okay. Let's see, what else? Anything else there I missed? Tips, gratuities. What we normally do, David will collect on our first night an amount to cover our tips for all the counts. And he'll tell you if it's, you know, $200 per person, $300 per person, and then you don't have to worry about tipping at any of the lodges. If you feel someone has done something special for you, like the guy cleaned mud off the roller wheels of your bag, and he's really been attentive to picking up your laundry and cleaning your room, or just they're just so warm and hospitable. You know, leave a few extra dollars for them, and $5 US goes a long way for everyone there. So
Is that what
that's
we bring?
something.
Dollars? They take dollars rather than,
You're
local money?
better off to convert US dollars to Kenyan shillings, because these people live out in the middle of nowhere. They very seldom come into the city to convert money. When you're in Nairobi, you can use US dollars because they'll do it at the hotel. The hotels will take credit cards. At the hotel, American Express, MasterCard, and Visa. But once we leave the city of Nairobi, the lodges all take MasterCard and Visa only. So you want to buy a souvenir, you pay for your alcohol, anything like that, you can use your MasterCard or Visa there. Okay.
Where do we change the money? There or here?
I would do it before you go. I would get some before you go. Go to your local bank and they will order it. If you have Wells Fargo, you can go right online and order it and pick up at your bank. There are banks, there's several particular banks that we have used before. I've used my credit card 4 or 5 times all at once for other people who needed extra money, because when you go to these shops to buy stuff, they prefer to have cash in shillings, and you'll get a better bargain if you have cash instead of a credit card, because they have to pay a fee. So if you're a big shopper, I'd say $500 at least in US converted. Then you can put everything else on your credit card, you know. So, all right, David.
So I'm pretty lazy. I just exchange my money at the airport when I arrive. Sometimes if depending on when you arrive, if you are there in the middle of the night, of course, the money exchange is closed, but there's many opportunities. It's very easy to exchange your money. I even go to the ATMs and just convert my cash to the shillings through an ATM. So it's not difficult. You
No.
had brought up a question about how do I, what if I'm thinking about doing the blue light? How is that done? You will get an email with all of the available options as we see them. Like, do I want to come in a day early? Do I want to stay a day later? Do I want to do a balloon ride? You're just going to simply check the box of what you're interested in, and then it'll be reflected on your invoicing. So it's very simple. As Sharon said, as we're doing our trip, Samburu is our longest drive of the day. It's also, it's one of my favorite because as soon as you get out of Nairobi, you really see how people live and you get a sense of the towns and the atmosphere. And we just kind of go from small town to small town as we're working our way to Samburu, our very first stop. And people often say, well, why do you go to Samburu? Why don't you just do, the Mara and Amboseli, what people always hear? Samburu is very unique. For those of you that are from California, it feels like you've just gone back to San Bernardino. Really, it looks like California desert. But Samburu is, they have their own, you're going to see the big five all throughout Kenya, but they have the rare five. They have 5 species there that you're not going to see anywhere else but Samburu. The Grevi zebra, which is probably the most beautiful zebra, they have the Mickey Mouse ears. They are in Samburu. The Somali ostrich is in Samburu. The reticulated giraffe is in Samburu. There's also an animal called a Geranuk, which is related to the giraffe. It looks like a small, antelope, but it stands on its hind legs and reaches up as it eats. Very, very unique animal. And then also there's an oryx that is in Samburu. So once we're there, you have these rare animals that you get a chance to see. And it's tough because if it's your first time in Kenya, you're going to be like, giraffe, elephant. And yes, you're going to see giraffes everywhere. Yes, you're going to see elephants everywhere. But also Samburu is one of the best places to see leopards. So when we're there, we're reminding people, hey, we're going to go look for leopards. Yes, we see the giraffes, we see the zebras. Yes, but you're going to see those for 14 days. Let's go find the leopard. Also, Samburu was if you guys remember an old movie called Born Free, and they raised this lion called Elsa. This is where they released her. They released her in Samburu. And if we remember, when you stop at the gate, there's a plaque on the wall for Elsa. Sharon mentioned you really don't need, you're not going to use a tripod. All the Jeeps are equipped with bean bags. Whether you're shooting high or low, you have a bean bag that'll support your camera. So I brought tripods the first couple of times, and I just lugged it around. I never ever used it. So those are some things I just wanted to bring up. Is there anything, Sharon, you wanted me to talk about?
Yeah, did you
Oh,
want,
the
can you see
rooms.
my screen? Can you see the screen?
Oh, wait, there's more. Yeah, let me back up a second and about the rooms. So Sharon and I have been working with the company. We got to know the owners. We got to know all the drivers. And because they like us and we like them, we are able to, just from our word of mouth, be able to reserve 12 rooms in the height of the season, which is nobody does that. Like every tour company out there is trying to reserve rooms, and the most you ever get without a deposit is 3 or 4 rooms. Before you have to either pay for them or put them back. So that's why we said we'll put people on a, you know, if the rooms get filled up, we will have a secondary list, because I know once we put deposits on those rooms, I have more credibility to ask for a couple more. Now, I'm not going to get 12 more rooms. I mean, they're just not that big, but we might be able to get 1 or 2, maybe 3 more. So right now, Sharon and I are planning on, to make this trip work, we're planning on sharing a room. We really don't want to, but we don't want to, you know what, we don't want to tie another room up. So we're doing the best we can to have as many beds possible for this trip.
I may have missed it, but how many people will be going on this trip?
Well, 12 rooms, if they're all double occupancy, the max would be 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be it. And it sounds like a lot, Steve, but we did 21 last year, and your only time you're together is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know, everybody's in Jeeps. So, you know, everybody's you
Yeah,
see.
we break into small
during
groups
this
when we're in the
time.
Jeeps. We're
All
only going to be
small groups.
together as a group, like Sharon said, when we're having drinks and having dinner, you know, when we're in the lodge. But as soon as, you know, hey, it's safari time, we're all breaking down into smaller groups and getting into the Jeeps. So
And you want to mix that up every day, you know, every day you want to travel with someone new every day, because not only are we helping you shoot, and David and I rotate, so we try to get everybody at least 1 or 2 times, you know, on the trip. We want to be able to help guide you and how to, you know, for your compositing and for your composition, and making sure you're not just photographing the whole scenery, that you're really locking in on certain things with the animals. So we're also giving you some guidance. Now, we are not instructing, okay? So these images, you can use an image comp if you are a image comp person, competition person, okay? So we are not instructing you during this time. We're suggesting for you. Okay.
And if you need an opinion, just ask, because there's a Jeep full of opinions. The Jeeps seat 9 people. We will have 5 per vehicle. We don't go more than that. And then Sharon and I will be bouncing between vehicles. So you might have us in the morning, you might have one of us in the evening. It might be a day or 2 before you actually have us with you, but we will do our best to rotate through all the vehicles throughout the whole trip.
Yep. All right.
Okay, so
talk about what's next.
What is next? So
Okay.
right next to Kenya, as luck would have it, is a country called Uganda. And Uganda has gorillas. And so we have arranged with the company to be able to do a gorilla safari right after the regular safari. So it's 4 days, and within the 4 days, we get to do 2 gorilla treks. So the first day is a travel day. We go from Kenya to there. We get to our lodge. We just relax. We get up the next morning. And yes, this is how close you will be to these magnificent creatures.
You can smell them.
You can.
This is us from last year.
And if you see what we're standing in, this is a tea field. So they are, in order to make a living, stripping the jungle and growing tea. This is either green tea or black tea, but that's a huge crop for these people.
And this is the terrain, sort of like this. There was a hill. It's not strenuous, as some people say, oh, well, we hiked for 4 miles, but we were into the jungle through this little part. There was a little bit of a steep hill. They give you walking sticks. And if you want to hire a porter, right, David? It was like, was it $10 for the porter?
Yeah, and you know, that's the little woman next to me.
They carry everything for you.
Yeah.
And they hold your hand, they make sure, you know, you're not gonna slip, and they tell you every little step. And we were probably 20 minutes in, and boom, we had our first encounter.
Right.
with gorillas.
And I'm not that fast. In case, you know, an animal's coming at me, I just need to be faster than my porter. That's what I think.
Yeah, they were really close. So we really had a nice time.
This is the lodging there. We are up in the mountains. So cool. I mean, it's chilly in the morning. You get this morning breeze. You'll never forget some of your trips in your lifetime, but I'll tell you what, your first couple of days in Uganda, you will never ever forget them.
It's really cool. All right.
So this is basically the itinerary. As you remember, the end of the regular safari is on the 24th. So most of you will be going back home on that day. The ones that are going to stay for the gorilla trek will spend the night at the Plaza Hotel, and then the next morning we actually fly into Rwanda, because where we are going in Uganda is very, very close to the Rwanda border, and it's a lot easier to fly into Rwanda and then drive over the border and into the forest where the gorillas are. So yes, you get another stamp on your passport. It really doesn't count because you're just going from the airport across the border. But anyhow, another stamp, it's another stamp.
It counts.
It counts. Okay. The next 2 days, we get up in the morning early, we go out, we do our gorilla trek, and then we come back and we relax, we download images in the lodge, and we get ready for the next day. Most tours only do one trek.
Yeah.
We're going to do 2.
And you want to do 2 trek. You really do.
You don't want to get all the way out there, and only have one chance.
Yeah.
So yes, going to see gorillas is pricey because the permit for us to photograph these animals are very expensive. So we're not only going to do it once, we're going to do it twice. It's a chance of a lifetime, to be there. So I don't want to chance it to only one day. So we added a second day. All right. The price is $5,500 per person. If this is something you do want to do on the option list, you check it, go, you know what? That sounds pretty good. Check that box. It'll be added to your invoice, and it's a $300 deposit to hold your spot. And the single supplement for the gorilla trekking for the 4 days is $500. So about $125 per day for the singles. So what's included? Okay, so you're overnight at the Crown Plaza, because we know that if you're going, you have to spend one more night in the hotel. So we threw that into the price. The airport transfer back and from Nairobi to Rwanda to Uganda, back to Rwanda, back to Nairobi. We include the flights in that package. We have arranged the vehicles to pick us up at the airport and to get us out to the lodges. The entrance fees are included. The permits are included. The meals at the lodges are included. And again, you get to go shoot gorillas with Sharon and I. That's priceless.
Yes.
So what's excluded after we get back from the gorilla trip, if you want to spend an extra day or two in Nairobi, we can, you can check that box off. We can add it to your invoice. It's not a bad place to stay. We don't include alcohol beverages, of course, duh. We don't include laundry or souvenirs. Laundry, I recommend highly just having, rather than bringing extra clothes, just have it laundered. It's very, very inexpensive. And most of the time, you're not really dirty, you're just dusty, right? So nobody is really going to care. They're going to notice, but they're not going to care that you brought 3 pairs of pants for 14 days.
Right.
They're going to notice, but nobody cares. Trust me.
I don't really notice.
Yeah. So there are going to be visa fees to go into Rwanda and Uganda. It's not much, but there's a couple of different services available online. That's going to be on you. Like Sharon said, we do recommend additional insurance. So that's for you. And then we will recommend what's tips and gratuities. There's a lot that goes on at these camps and lodges. And there's a lot of people that work behind the scenes that you will never see. And that's why we collect the tips for the behind the scenes people. And we put it in an envelope and we write a very, very nice letter, from the ASP group. And
Every camp gets that.
every camp gets that.
And in Uganda, we're
now-
only at one lodge.
Yeah, you will have your own guides getting you to your own rooms, helping you carry your bags, stuff like that. A couple of dollars for them is great. If you like, you're going to notice how clean your room is every day that you get back. Just leave a couple of dollars on the counter for your person. So there you go. So what do you do next? Well, I would highly recommend you do what Helene did. She put her deposit down before you even did this.
I knew I was gonna go come hell or high water unless I dropped dead from a heart attack.
No, okay. You want to go, your deposit is good for 30 days. If something comes up, you change your mind, it's okay. It's refundable for the 30 days while you're thinking about it. It's not really refundable after the 30 days. Spots are first come, first serve. Okay, so we will record the day that you put your deposit down. We are going to have a cutoff day of August 31st. If this even lasts that long, but that's the day that we're saying, okay, no more, right? When the spots are filled, we will begin the waiting list. Right now, maximum of 24 people for the safari. Add Sharon's email, add David's email,
Sorry.
so that when we contact you, it doesn't go into spam.
Yeah, I'll give you that in a minute. I'll give that'll come up
Okay.
on the next slide.
If you're thinking about the gorilla experience and you want some more information, or it's like, yeah, I think I really want to go, shoot us an email. Let us know. Okay, some of the stuff is boilerplate. Your deposit is $500, like I said.
But we will let you pay it out. This is something you don't have to pay all at once. So
Yes.
it
So
kind of helps everybody.
what we did is, if you want to do it in a payment plan, half the balance is due 180 days, 6 months before the start of the tour. That's when your first half is done. And then the remaining balance, 90 days before we leave, is the remaining. Okay, if something happens, and we get it, stuff happens, right? So if we are 4 months before the trip and you're like, dude, my dog died and I'm just like, I can't go, I'm going to be mourning, and that happens. I get it. So here's our cancellation policy for cancellations made 4 months prior. You're going to get half the amount paid, minus the deposit. If you cancel 3 months out, you don't get any refund because we've pretty much already paid for everything. Now, if Sharon and I decide we don't want to go with you guys anymore, and we cancel the trip, you get a full refund. So there you go.
Unforeseen act of God that happens.
Yes.
There it is.
Okay.
My favorite thing, right?
Yes. Thank you for the questions in the David and Fujiko. I hope that I answered them for you guys. Let's go back to
There's our trip.
so 5 different parks. Yes, 5 completely different what do you call ecological zones. You're going to go from high desert to tropics to and even the level of the heights that we're at. We're crossing the equator, right? But we're crossing the equator in the mountains where the Rift Valley is. So it's just such an experience. And telling you about Samburu and Amboseli and the Mara, like they're just names, they don't mean anything. But once you come back, like words can't describe it.
Okay, David's gonna cry already. Yeah, we haven't gone.
Oh my God, I cry every time I go there.
I know.
I think
Question.
Andrew had a question, yeah.
I
Yes.
do, and this, forgive my inexperience here. What's the political volatility of the area?
It is,
You never
you
see
won't
it.
even notice it. Like Sharon said,
Never
that
seen
is kind of in downtown Nairobi. We aren't anywhere close to it. And when we are out in the reserves and the camps, we are in our own world. But that's a very, very good question, because I was in Portland when they said they were burning down the city. And it's like, where? Where are they burning down the city? Oh, it's over on Firth and Main. Like, oh. So everything gets sensationalized. And yes, there's protesting going on there right now. But it's localized, and we're not in that area.
And wouldn't prevent travel in or out?
No problem traveling.
Not likely. I know you can't predict the future, but
Can't predict the future, but they know how important tourism is.
Yeah.
Thank
Where we are staying, once we leave the airport, we are in a vehicle, and the airport is in a secure zone. Like once you are there and you see the security measures that people have to go through just to get close to the airport, you're going to wonder why we don't do these things.
Yeah. Mel and John are on here and they can vouch for that, how like a dog is actually put up into the van and sniffs our van before we're even allowed to go in the gate to the airport.
I think we go through 3
hotel.
gates. Yeah, we go
Sure.
through 3 different gates before we get to our hotel.
Yeah.
And one of them, you actually have to get out and go through a metal detector. From the Jeep, you have to get out of the vehicle, go through a metal detector, and then get back in the
Back in
vehicle.
the Jeep. And
Yeah.
the reason for that is the Jeep goes through a radar.
Metal detector radar thing.
Yeah, and they don't want to subject the people to that intense
Yeah.
whatever. So yes. And
That's
as
it.
far as the camps, the people that work in the camps and live in the camps, they're there for 4 or 5 months at a time. So even when COVID was taking over Southern Africa and Central Africa, it wasn't happening in the camps, because the only people that were coming in and out were the tourists, and we had to be vaccinated to be able to get there. So they were more worried about getting it from us because they had no way to, they weren't exposed to it.
And they had to be vaccinated to even work at the camp. So they had
Yes.
special doctors come in and they flew vaccines out to all the camps. And if you did not want to get vaccinated, you could not work in the
Couldn't
camp.
work. They were the first people in Kenya to get vaccinated
Yeah.
because of tourism. So, yeah, you're in good hands. But I'm glad you asked that question because it's on the back of everybody's mind.
So I figured get out in the open and get your take on it.
Yeah.
Because you know the environment a lot better than we do.
Yeah. Does anybody need me to go back? I can stop sharing. Does anybody want to look at anything else?
Well, we have access to the recorded version. There's some.
Yes,
Yes.
Mel,
Look at the
correct?
recorded
Yes,
version.
this will be posted on the ASP website probably within the next week sometime.
Okay.
Go back and take a look at that elephant with the big tusks. That is Craig. He is the largest elephant on the planet. And
52 now, right? 53.
yeah, oh my God, what an honor it is just to see this animal, let alone photograph him. So he lives in Amboseli, and hopefully we will see him. Now, everybody knows where Craig is at. Whether we can get access to him or not, it just depends on how
Where
close
he is.
you know, where he is.
Yeah.
So,
I got a question. David asked, does everybody have access to each side of the windows? Yes, that's a yes. There
yes,
are
it is a yes,
3
especially if you're
rooms.
friendly with your neighbor, because if
Hey,
something is going on that side, we are all over there, and there's 2 levels.
Right.
So if you think about it, one person can be shooting above and the other one can be shooting, you know,
Yeah.
right below them. And
Yeah.
that happens. Sorry. But if Craig is there and Mel's in front of me, I'm going to get that shot. I'm sorry that, you know, I'm sitting on your head, but he gets it.
And we do have Jeep etiquette. There is a little Jeep etiquette list, because when you're photographing, you don't want everybody moving at the same time on top of you, because your shot may be different than what they see. So you
Yes.
don't want them to, you know, blur your shot that you've envisioned. So you want everybody to be, hey, I'm moving, I'm standing on top of you. I'm straddling 2 rows here. You can shoot between my legs, whatever you want to call it. You know, we just kind of talk softly in the Jeeps. You don't want to be too loud, because,
Right.
you know, you don't want to scare the animals. And I'm telling you, they are close. They are close. And the drivers get us close, and they know when to back away. They know, you know, how long we need to stay on something, and if there's, you know, I know we've had people say, well, I don't want to go because I don't want to see a kill. Well, it's nature. If you don't want to see the kill,
Don't
look
watch.
the other way.
It's
Look
so
at your
rare.
images, you know, we can't control that. It's
Can't
Mother
control it.
Nature.
And it's so rare to actually see it. Very, very rare.
We've only seen a
Need
couple.
a certain kind of hat.
Do you need a certain hat?
Yeah, some kind of hat like David's wearing, or any kind of hat.
Well, I can only imagine you might get one of those when you get there.
You might actually get one.
I have a similar hat, but not with the logo on the front.
Oh, we're gonna take really good care of you.
Good question.
You know, the Jeep is covered, so technically not really.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, you're gonna be in shape.
you're gonna be in shade most of the
You're
time.
gonna wear a
You might
hat
get
just
some
to look-
sun from the window, but yeah.
Yeah.
Look at me. That's all it's going to take to burn me.
Yeah.
If we wanted to do some night shooting, let's say the sky or whatever, can we do that from
Yes.
where we are, when, not to
Yeah.
go away from the, you know what I'm asking you? Like, if
There's places in the camps that you can do that. You just need to be with somebody so that you do not end up being the first
Lunch.
kill they'll see.
okay,
I'm not
Because you-
kidding you. You will hear, when you're in your tent, you can hear the animals outside. Okay? If you go to unzip or open a door, there's a guy right there. Okay? They're there. They
Good
know
to
they
know.
have to protect you and they will walk with you wherever you need to go. If there's someplace you see during the day that you like, there's this beautiful acacia tree and you'd like to go back and photograph that at night, we'll arrange that with one of the drivers. Okay? You can take. So
Sure.
it can be.
Some of our camps are inside the reserve,
Uh-huh.
meaning you wake up, you are already inside the gate. You're not part of all the other tourists waiting at the gate for the park to open to get in. Quite often we are done photographing as everybody else is just now entering the park.
That's great.
Now-
Lake Navasha is the only place we're not inside the park,
Yeah.
Lake Navasha. But
When we are inside some of these
it's-
places, there's no fence between you and the animals.
correct.
So there are people that guard between each of the tents. So one night, the guide saw me, my light go on in my tent and then go back off. And the next morning he goes, "Hey, did that elephant wake you up?" I'm going, "What elephant?" He goes, "Yeah, there was an elephant right outside your window. Did he wake you up?" I go, "No, I woke up to pee. I'm an old guy. We do that. It's not a big deal. Be used to it."
I'm gonna be up all night listening to the animals. I'm
Oh,
just,
you will hear hyenas in the morning. You will hear lions roaring in the mornings. You will hear hippos
The hippos, but it.
singing you lullabies all night long. And the hippos are loud. When a hippo comes through the camp, everybody knows it. It's like a bulldozer
Yeah.
blowing down trees and stuff.
That's exciting.
Elephants are very, very quiet.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. So yeah,
Yeah. They're beautiful.
if you want to photograph something, at night, stars or whatever, you will have a guide with you.
Mhm.
that's
We
fine.
just have to arrange it ahead of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
when we
I'm
get
just
there.
asking
When we get
because I'm just so thrilled to be able to go and do all this stuff without, I'm missing Jim and I'm just thinking he would love this.
Yes, he would have. He would have. Yeah. Well, we're glad you're gonna go, and we'll just we'll take a piece of him with us. Okay.
Absolutely.
So is there any other last minute questions as we wrap this up? And for those that do sign up, there will be another couple more Zooms and you'll have a lot of access to both Sharon and David to ask, a million questions. And, and you've also got access to asking people who have actually been on the trip as well that are ASP members. So, take advantage of that if you need to.
One last question about the shots. If you need shots, how far before the trip do you take them?
Well, yellow fever is the only one they are recommending, only because you're going to Africa. And yellow fever is a once in a lifetime. So you can do it tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I wouldn't take any shots within 6 months of the trip. You don't know what kind of reaction you might have. You want to give your body, you could get a cold or, this or that.
Got
And I always tell everybody, you're traveling across the world. If somebody's got a cold and somebody's sick and there's issues, don't go around them. You're leaving in 2 weeks. Isolate yourself for at least 2 weeks before you make this trip. You don't want to get sick.
Yeah.
Okay, because one person gets a cold, we all get it when we get there, so.
I
So,
think you're
Christy,
ready.
you had a question?
Well, it's actually for you, Mel. Are
Okay.
you going back this time?
Not this time because of a pending wedding coming up.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
So
Mel
yeah,
got
so I'm not
engaged
going on
there.
this one, but I will go back. Yes.
Mel
You
got
enjoyed it?
For those of you that know, Mel did get engaged on the last trip.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
On the hot air
trip?
balloon over the Mara.
Wow, that's
I was
great.
gonna put that in there, but I thought that might have been, I
No,
should have done
You
it.
can
I
show
should've-
it. It's
Very-
fine. It's cool.
I have the
Very
whole
romantic.
video.
Yeah.
So are you hoping you had the vaccination before you went on the trip then for that?
I don't know if there is one for that, Andrew.
Yeah.
He has a fever, Andrew.
Yes, he does. and I
Yeah.
don't blame him.
He had a fever. Oh my gosh. I am so happy that he finally proposed, because Mel was a little grumpy a couple leading up to there.
And
He
he's
had
been
this
happy
big
ever
rock in his
since.
pocket. He was afraid he was gonna lose. Oh my God. I was like, do not hold that big engagement ring out over the hot air balloon.
Yeah, right?
Make sure you hold that tight.
Well, look, it was nice meeting you all. Mel, thank you for hosting this. Sharon, my partner, good to see you again.
Good to
And
see you.
I hope to see
to
all
see
of you
everyone.
guys in Kenya.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Sounds great.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Hey, guys, thank you.